Fox Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the National Football League.
And some people call it the Mecca of professional football. Green Bay, Wisconsin, Lambeau Field, and a look at Aaron Rodgers. He will go. And for more on that, let's go down to the third member of our crew, the new Carissa Thompson. Carissa.
That's right. He will get to start today, and that decision was just made 2 hours ago, Ron. They took him to an offside facility called the Hudson Center, worked him out there. Mike McCarthy was very adamant about the fact that he would not let him start if he didn't think that he could make every single pass without hurting that shoulder. Rodgers took the field about 45 minutes ago, ran through his whole pregame warm-up, and didn't appear to be in any pain. But again, we'll keep an eye on that all game.
And he's not in any pain right now, and that's good that he can make the throws. But the question is, after he gets hit a couple times, what will that shoulder feel like?
So Mason Crosby ready to get us going here in Green Bay. A perfect day for football, about 60 degrees. And this will be Norwood. Norwood gets out about to the 19-yard line. And a first look at Matt Ryan, the number 3 pick overall in the NFL draft. Struggling on the road, a 127.5 quarterback rating at home, but on the road that drops dramatically to 46.9.
Yeah, and he's really had some really slow starts on the road. Had the 2 interceptions against Tampa early, and then got fortunate last week on a interception that was returned to a touchdown that was called back.
First and 10 for the Falcons. First pass. Going deep. Roddy White all alone. White has it. It's a clean catch. Knocked out of bounds by Nick Collins, but the Falcons strike early and big, 37 yards, and it quiets the Green Bay crowd.
And he was working against Charles Woodson, one of the best man coverage guys in the NFL. Roddy White beating press, getting his hands off him. Charles Woodson, as he looks back in the backfield, gets his feet tangled up, leaving Roddy White wide open.
Ball resting at the Packers' 44-yard line after the pass play. The draw, Turner. They haven't been able to get Turner going, especially on the road. Not a lot there. Michael Montgomery subbing in for the injured Cullen Jenkins, who was put in the injured reserve list this past week with the tackle, and that's good for 2 yards.
And they're trying to keep up tempo. They're not going no huddle, but they're huddling very close to the line of scrimmage, trying to get up and get an up tempo to see if they can get a quick start.
Second down and 8. Mahaley in front of Turner. Turner stopped initially, gets some yards out of it. Montgomery got into the backfield, caused a pileup. Tremont Williams on the tackle. Another 2 yards for Turner. It'll bring up 3rd and 6.
And it's interesting watching this Atlanta Falcons offense. We saw it last week, but look at how close they are. Look at how close that space is. Usually it's about 7 yards. It's only 4. It's not the no huddle like we saw last week, but it's up tempo.
3rd and 6. Green Bay with their nickel package in the game. One extra defensive back. Wide open again, Roddy White. He slips down, but it's an easy first down for the Atlanta Falcons. For the second time already, Roddy White left all alone. That one good for 19 yards.
Roddy White working against Pat Lee at the bottom of the screen. He's going to run a route and then come outside. Pat Lee falls again. You got to wonder if there's some problem with the footing out there. And then Roddy slips as well. Be something to watch today.
The quick throw backside. Roddy White now with 3 catches already as he lifts off the lid of Tremont Williams. The Green Bay Packer defense, I already mentioned Cullen Jenkins, tore a chest muscle last week against Tampa Bay. He is gone for the year. In his place, Michael Montgomery. The linebacking crew, A.J. Hawk a little nicked up. We'll have to watch him. The secondary, Charlie Pepra will get his first start at the safety spot for 2 injuries, Atari Bigby and Aaron Rouse. 2nd and 2. Turner. Campman on the tackle there.
And Ron, this is something we haven't seen in the 2 road games with Atlanta, a quick start. The first 2 games they played on the road, it was 3 and out, or actually an interception, and then 3 and out on the second time. This time they got a nice drive. They've taken advantage of some secondary problems with the Green Bay Packers hitting Roddy White, and they're kind of methodically moving the ball down the field.
There's a look at first-year head coach Mike Smith. Spent the last 5 years in Jacksonville as a defensive coordinator. His team is playing well at home, 2 wins, but not so well on the road, 2 losses. Turner picking his way. And Turner has been a guy who's been very, very good at home, especially. He picks up 4 there. Still the NFL's leading rusher in spite of being held under 60 yards in each of the last 2 road games, Tony.
Well, that's what happens when you rush for almost 250 or 300, whatever you did that first game.
9 yards a carry.
And then we can see right there the difference home and away. When you're averaging 162 at home, that helps you be the leading rusher. They got to figure out how to do it on the road there.
2nd and goal. Finneran in motion. The give to Norwood. Norwood with a hole, and Norwood is down to the 1-yard line.
Norwood, the ball carrier.
Pepra may have saved the touchdown.
The tackle.
Jarius Norwood does a good job of showing patience. It's something
number 74
he's been criticized for sometimes. Is
number
not being as patient as runner,
receiver.
and finds a little bit of crease on the backside and really exploits it. He's the more explosive guy out of the 2 between him and Turner.
A very good duo between Turner and Norwood. Movement early, a fumble snap. And markers go down. Our first call today from referee Carl Shuffers.
And this is what killed them last week in the red area, Ron. They'd start driving, they get down there, and they'd have they had a false start, some holding penalties last week that backed them up.
Encroachment, number 79, defense. Half the distance to the goal. 2nd down.
That's on Ryan Pickett.
Well, excuse me. I was
3rd down.
A little quick to blame the Falcons, blame the offensive lineman on that one, and they just were responding to Ryan Pickett's movement. And absolutely, the Packers defensive line moved first. That's encroachment.
Turner trying to dive in. He went backwards. No sign from the officials. He's not in.
And Ron, if you're Mike Smith, you have to go for it here. You've driven down. You have a young team.
So.
You've got to make a statement. You're in Lambeau Field. This is where you can say, listen, we're going to establish our will. And not only that, as an offensive lineman, when your head coach does this, it gives you a ton of confidence.
4th and goal. Bootleg. Got it. Touchdown, Justin Peele.
Well, that surprised me. It's hard to be critical when a play works like that, but the Green Bay Packers actually did a good job of covering that naked bootleg. Peele right there is just going to work in the flat as they roll out this way with Matt Ryan. Oh, excuse me, it was Peele from the other side who came all the way across the formation, actually, Ron. And got outside and did a good job.
The Atlanta Falcons now with 45 first-quarter points. That is the most in the NFL. They draw blood first. Packer offense coming up.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees.
So a quick strike by the Atlanta Falcons, and look at the scoring drive. And Tony, it really started with the opening play, the slip down by Charles Woodson and the wide open Roddy White.
Yeah, Roddy White made a couple big plays. Both times the corner, once Woodson, the other Pat Lee, who were covering him, fell down.
And this is Michael Kanan punting away to Nelson and Blackman. And this will be Blackman. Blackman twisting early, looking for daylight, going backwards. Snelling, Jason Snelling, caught up with him. Aaron Rodgers coming up next after the early Atlanta Falcons score.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
So it was a close call all week long for Aaron Rodgers. He injured his shoulder last week in that loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They called it a sprained shoulder. He was limited in practice, really only practiced one day. That was Friday, and that was very limited reps. They got him inside for rehab shortly after that. 1st and 10 at the 20. And they'll test the shoulder early. No place to go. First pass, first sack. And that's the former Green Bay Packer, Grady Jackson.
And boy, he was ready to come play here this game. He was excited to get on the field. Grady Jackson making his presence known early.
And Aaron Rodgers with a tough game against the Buccaneers last week in the 3rd quarter. He injured the right shoulder right there. Stayed in the game through this 48-yard touchdown strike, but later on he said that was the most painful throw of his career. Enter Matt Flynn. For a few series, Rodgers came back. But then the rehabilitation process started on Rodgers for this week. They'll go to the draw. Not much there. That's Ryan Grant. Our first game break of the day. Let's go to Los Angeles and check in with Kurt Menefee.
Seahawks and Giants. The Giants starting Dominic Hickson for the suspended Plexico Burress. Giant fans excited because he had a big preseason. Maybe they know something. 32-yard touchdown on the Giants' first possession by Hickson, and they have a 7-0 lead. Back to Ron, Tony, and Carissa.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. Brandon Jackson checks in for the Packers. It's a 3rd and 11. Driver in return motion. The screen, Jackson will have to run, and he's going to be short. A marker is down. May go against the the Packers. And that was Abraham on the tackle.
Holding, number 63, offense. That penalty's declined. 4th down.
That's Scott Wells, the center. That'll bring on the punt team for Green Bay, and boy, Mike McCarthy is hot.
Well, he really questioned their, I guess, effort and their enthusiasm and the speed of play they played with last week in Tampa. He felt like they were lethargic. They got back to work and the fundamentals this week. He wanted more energy from his team.
And they're looking for more energy from this man, Derek Frost. He has struggled in the punt game, and there's another bad one. It has cost him field position and basically games, as a lot of people here in Green Bay are concerned about.
And Ron, it's something we saw at practice on Friday. He struggled when there was no rush punting the ball. Really has struggled so far the last couple of weeks.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Quantum of Solace, in theaters November 14th. By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And by Visa, go on, live life. And remember that no matter what it takes, life takes Visa.
So coming off the heels of the 37-yard punt by Frost, the ball rests at about the 39-yard line. And Mike Smith said our team has to have sustainability from some of those great performances we get at home. We got to take that on the road. And here's a step in that direction. There's Michael the Burner Turner. Michael Turner still going as he works inside the Packer 40-yard line. Charles Woodson finally wrestles him down. 22 yards for Turner, and a fast start to go along with the quick start in the opening series. The slip down outside, wide open Roddy White. They went to White on the other side, got to the goal line, couldn't run it in. The bootleg touchdown to Justin Hill. Turner looking for cutback. Can't quite get there. Pepra coming up from the safety spot. A pickup of 2.
Ron, you talk about Michael Turner looking for the cutback. That's really where their bread and butter has been in the first few games. They've had success, but it's also almost their Achilles heel. They feel like they've been looking for it a little bit too much, and teams are starting to play that cutback. They really want their running backs to press the whole front side and then only take the cutback when it's there.
2nd and 8 run. Turner trying to pound his way through, ran right into Nick Barnett, the middle linebacker.
And that was a good example of that, keeping the ball front side. Michael Turner, I mean, is an explosive guy, and sometimes when you get those explosive backs trying to hit the home run, they're looking to hit a home run every time. And they really want to just grind it out, get those tough yards, and right there you can see him really sticking his head in there and finishing the run.
Working against the Packers, as you mentioned already, Tony, ranked 26th in the NFL in rush defense, giving up 5.2 yards a carry, which is way too much. 33. Play a stop.
First charge timeout, Atlanta.
Timeout, Atlanta. We'll be back. Third down and 3 coming up for Atlanta, and the Packers have subbed in Kabir Bajabiamila at that end position. That's interesting because third down and 3, they must think that they're going to get past, but they may get run.
Yeah, they're expecting pass. That's why KGB is in. He's not great against the run. They might try to run right at that left side, right at him.
Pass formation. Shotgun. They'll pass it. No, they'll run it. The shovel pass right on that side. And Tony, we talked about it. That's a first down.
And you know what they did right there? They took advantage of KGB, the aggressive pass rusher. He flew up the field. Sam Baker did a good job right here working against KGB, working him up the field, and then allowing the shuffle pass to come right up underneath them. It creates a natural lane, and that's textbook play you want to go against a guy like KGB.
And a nice seal block there by Justin Blaylock. First and 10. Play action. Another pass and a big hit. White. And he got it straight from Tramon Williams. A pickup of 3.
And Tramon Williams in for the injured Al Harris, who tore his spleen. Every time I say that, I get like a twinge. It sounds painful. But Tramon Williams, talking to Charles Woodson, said Tramon might be our best athlete, or one of the best athletes in the secondary. He's paid his dues and has really done a good job in the replace of Al Harris.
Second down and 7. High formation. This looks like run, and it is. Turner, not much there. Plenty of green shirts. Let's go to Los Angeles. Another game break. Here's Kurt Menefee.
You guys were talking about Tramon Williams, a good punt returner for the Packers, but this is special by Deshaun Jackson of the Eagles. Takes the punt, 68 yards against the Redskins. Ignore the flag. The touchdown counts, and the Eagles have a quick 14-0 lead over the Skins. Back to Ron, Tony, and Carissa.
Hey, and he held on to the ball this time. He didn't let go of the ball
as he's crossing the goal line.
Third and 6.
The young rookie learned from his mistake.
And the Falcons not afraid to let this young rookie throw the ball. Plenty of time, the crosser and a drop. This victimized the Falcons last week, and that lost to Carolina. Norwood.
Last week, they had 7 drops. 3 of them were on third down that would have been first downs. Chalk up 1 drop today and a critical third down situation.
Last week against Carolina, Atlanta's receivers didn't help rookie quarterback Matt Ryan at all. A total of 7 drop passes, depending on how you add it all up. And the worst part, 3 of those on crucial third down situations. 42 yards out. That's Elam, and it's good. Elam now a perfect 10 for 10 on the year. Green Bay up early, Atlanta up early. So the Falcons with an early lead, and Tony, you've already prefaced it. This is what the Falcons haven't been able to do on the road thus far.
Yeah, it's the quick start. It's much easier to play if you're a young team with a 10-0 lead. The Falcons have come out. They've established a run. Good consistency from Matt Ryan as well through the air.
This will be Blackman. And Blackman keeps it churning. Gets out to about the 25, 26-yard line. Well, Thursday, it's game 1 of the National League Championship Series as Manny Ramirez and the Dodgers, fresh off their sweep last night of the Chicago Cubs, take on either the Phillies or the Brewers to determine which team will earn the right to advance to the World Series. Coverage of the NLCS begins Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on Fox. And the Phillies lead the series 2-1. And that game going on right now, about 2 hours south of here. The Phillies up over the Brewers 1-0 in the bottom of the first. We'll keep you posted. Grant trying to cut it back. John Abraham is there.
The Brewers are just hoping they can get it to Game 5 because the big horse, CC Sabathia, their stud, their ace, will be on the mound. And boy, that guy's been, I mean, he has been lights out all season, really. 11-2 down the stretch. I mean, it was the reason they got into the playoffs, pitched 3 times in 9 days. So if they can find a way to win today against the Phillies, quite a Game 5.
Joe Torre has worked his magic once again, this time on the other coast for the LA Dodgers. 2nd and 9. Ryans, he's had trouble holding on to the football. 2 fumbles in the last 2 weeks. Pours it up inside. Big Grady Jackson is there. And the starting lineup, you know about Rodgers being able to go with that messed up shoulder. The offensive line not doing it as far as the run game, and Mike McCarthy has pretty much called them out along with the back.
Well, yeah, he says, listen, they got to play with better pad level. Ryan Grant needs to run with better pad level. He got after him this week in practice, and the big guys up front have a tall task. They got to protect. They got to run the ball and protect Aaron Rodgers today.
3rd down and 6. That's Jackson in the backfield. Looking for the quick throw, holds it, goes back outside, intended for Greg Jennings, and it's dropped. Chevis Jackson, the rookie out of LSU, on the coverage, and Mike McCarthy fuming once again.
He is not happy. He wasn't happy with the performance last week. This is a guy who likes to play physical football, run the ball, expects a lot out of his offensive line, and he has not seen it yet from that group or the running backs. They went back to a training camp practice, the fundamentals of low pads, full pads, both Wednesday and Thursday run. He was getting after it. He expects more out of this offensive group.
So they signed Frost the week of the opener. He replaced John Ryan. They struggled in the punt department. That was bobbled. That's a loose ball, but recovered there by Adam Jennings.
And that still wasn't a great punt. I mean, still not a great punt. No hang time, a low line driver. If Jennings can field that, might have some room to do something on the return.
44 yards on the punt.
And you can see he took his eyes right off the ball, knowing he knew that was a line drive. And hey, you know, his eyes got big as saucers, saying I might be able to do something, and decided to look downfield before he caught the ball. The most important thing. Frost is a guy, you better get it figured out. There's a little bit of pressure up here. He didn't perform very well Friday's practice, and it's carried over so far on the field today.
Packers brought in 2 punters, worked them out, didn't sign them, so it looks as though Frost has at least this week left to be a Green Bay Packer. The end around Harry Douglas, and he's got a ton of room. Douglas can't quite get out to the 50-yard line, but a nice gain, 18 yards and a first.
And that play set up because they've been running the ball. They've been running the ball very well with Michael Turner, and so you can see everyone collapse on Michael Turner. Michael Montgomery, the defensive end who's in for Colin Jenkins, who's had a great year, sucked way down, lost contained, trying to make a big play on Turner. Out the backside goes Harry Douglas.
2 nice blocks down the field, one by Roddy White. Turner has got it going. A nice carry there on 1st down. Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, you guys, Todd McClure suffered a calf strain. They were wrapping it on the sideline. They took his whole sock off, and then they put a brace around his calf. And then he took more tape out, and he himself wrapped it up and put a sock over it, and appears to be fine now.
All right, Carissa, the more you can do. Sometimes you have to take yourself.
Absolutely, and he did a great job in that play. That offensive line's getting after the Packers. He had a great double team with Blaylock on Jarley. They ran right at the heart of that Packer defense.
McClure making his 101st consecutive start. And Turner just pounding through this Packer defense. That's a 1st down. Williams finally helps with the tackle.
Ron, is this the Georgia Dome?
Right.
I mean, are we in Georgia? Because this team has not done this on the road all year. This looks like the Atlanta Falcons at home, running the ball, physical, getting after people. And boy, if they do that, they're a much better team, I think, than people give them credit for. Matt Ryan's better than, I think, most rookie quarterbacks. And if they run the ball with Michael Turner, watch out.
Packer defense gave up 178 yards rushing last week, and that loss to Tampa Bay. Looks like more of the same here. Another slip. We've seen a couple slips here, Tony. And we were down the field before the game. The turf very low cut right now down there.
Yeah, low cut, which you would think, okay, that's good traction. You're gonna get the right shoes, but it was a slippery grass. I don't know what kind of grass it is, but I was feeling it. And one of the first thoughts I had stepping on the field, going, okay, you better make sure you have the right shoes today because the footing's a little slippery out here.
Usually it's the 3/4 inch Bermuda, what people like to call the frozen tundra. And having played here several years, usually it's a little bit high, but very low today. And you've seen guys slip as a result.
And it hasn't been just the Falcons, the road team, which you might expect.
The end
the
of the
home
first
team,
quarter.
the Packers, who are used to playing here. We saw Woodson slip. We saw Pat Lee slip. A couple guys on both sides of the ball struggling with the footing.
That's the end of the first quarter. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. And we start the second quarter here in Green Bay. Ron Pitts, Tony Baselli, Carissa Thompson. Second down and 12. Falcons have been able to move the ball at will. With some early scores in the first quarter. Norwood. And Norwood inside for a couple. Ron Pitts, Tony Baselli. No, I'm not this tall, but this is television. Anything's possible. So, Tony, your thoughts on the first quarter?
Well, listen, the Atlanta Falcons started fast. It's exactly what we talked about. They've been running the ball. They're getting consistent passing game from Matt Ryan, helped by the secondary of the Green Bay Packers falling down. But I think if you're an Atlanta Falcons fan with the team, it's a perfect start.
Third down and 10. The quick hitter, Norwood. Norwood will have to dance. And the Packers are there. Nice open field tackle by Nick Collins. And the Packer defense gets off the field. And Collins has been on fire lately. The Pro Bowler last year. 3 interceptions at ties for first in the NFC.
You got Jarius Norwood, tailback, flanked outside with 3 receivers in front of him. And it's obviously a design play from the start. And Brian Finneran just never gets his block, forcing Jarius Norwood to have to hesitate just a second. Excuse me, that was Justin Peel. Don't want to blame the wrong guy out there. Just missed his block, and it made Jarius just have to hesitate for a second.
Kanan with the punt. And the forced fair catch at about the 12-yard line by Will Blackman. 10-0 Atlanta.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Ford. Drive one. By Frost Brewed Coors Light. When the mountains turn blue, your beer is as cold as the Rockies. And by State Farm, proud sponsor of the NFL and the best day of the week.
And the Atlanta Falcons came into the game with a healthy first down average, 6.6. That was second in the NFL to the Dallas Cowboys, but look at it now.
It's tough to win and tough to stay on schedule as an offense if you're losing 1.5 yards on first down.
So the Packers got to get something going. First and 10. Play action. And that one sails. And now it just begs the question about Aaron Rodgers' arm. Meanwhile, we'll take a look at the game within the game. John Abraham taking on the Packers offensive tackle Clifton and Mark Tauscher.
Yeah, every week we look at something that might not be on the beaten path of the outside guys, quarterbacks. It's the guys in the trenches. What's going to determine who wins or loses? And every time you play the Atlanta Falcons, you better know where John Abraham is. He's going to line up on both sides, meaning both Mark Tauscher and Chad Clifton are going to have their hands full today.
Second and 10. Jennings in motion. Across the middle. That's Donald Lee. Let's go for this Giants update out to Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Well, Ronnie, the Giants have it humming. This is Brandon Jacobs with a 3-yard score. Eli Manning 7 for 7, 145 yards and a touchdown. And they're cruising over Seattle right now, 14-3 in the second quarter. Ron and Tony?
Ron, Kurt, you're right. They've had it humming since they won the Super Bowl last year against New England in the playoffs. They've really had a good balance between the run with Jacobs and the pass with Eli Manning.
A third down and 3. The pitch to Jackson. He cuts it up. And he's got the first down. Nice looking run as he works out to the 30-yard line. And a big conversion early here, Tony, being down 10-0.
Yeah, the Green Bay Packers could not afford to get off in 3 and out again and put that defense back on the field. The defense has spent the majority of the time on the field so far today. And Jacobs does a great job. Brandon Jackson does a great job of getting outside and being patient, allowing those big offensive linemen and Donald Lee, the tight end, to set up their blocks and then explodes up to get the first down. Critical first down at this junction of the game.
12-15 in the second quarter, and the first down for the Packers today. The end around Driver. Driver cuts it up, and then took a shot. And that was Lawyer Malloy. Supposedly, Malloy's got some sore ribs. Didn't look like it on that play.
I think Donald Lee now has the sore ribs. Youngsters, if you're watching football and you want to know how to play, free safety in this league or strong safety in this league, that's how you make an open field tackle. Donald Driver taking a little end around. Mike McCarthy said, it worked for the Falcons. Let's try it ourselves. Only problem is Lawyer Malloy came up and delivered the knockout.
Second down and 4. Grant's got a lane. Ryan Grant running downhill like he can do so well. And there's another Packer first down. Malloy on the tackle, a pickup of 12.
And that's the type of run game in the second half of last year that made them dominate. Trauscher's going to have a great job of a down block and just work outside with Ryan Grant. Pulling Jason Spitz, the right guard, kicks out. The force player coming in, Chevis Jackson, open up a huge gaping hole for Ryan Grant.
Quick throw inside, and that's Greg Jennings. Feels like the Packers now starting to get some rhythm in the offense.
Well, it's because they're running the ball. I mean, everyone wants to talk about, the quarterback position, Aaron Rodgers, can he play or not? But talking to Mike McCarthy, he said, listen, if it was up to me as a play caller, I'd run the ball 50 times a game because he understands that's the foundation that sets up everything else.
And now you're left to be very manageable down at this position. Second and 4, the toss to Grant. Grant will be very close to another first down. And Ryan Grant, Tony, a virtual unknown at the start of last season, into the year as not only the Packers' top rusher, but one of the top backs in the NFL. Took over for Deshaun Wynn around the midway point of the season. And in spite of that, came very close to 1,000 yards rushing. But he held out coming into the training camp this year. Wanted a little bit more money, new contract, he got it. But he's been bothered by hamstring issues ever since. He has not gotten off to the kind of start of the season the Packers would have liked. Full house backfield, looking deep. He uncorks it, looking for Driver. He got it, touchdown Packers. And a big touchdown for Driver. Driver hurt. That is his 100th consecutive catch in consecutive games. And boy, it was a big one.
I guess that might answer the question of how Aaron Rodgers' arm feels, his shoulder feels, because he aired it out.
Right.
And he had plenty of distance and zip on that ball. It was a strike to Donald Driver.
And Driver is up, and boy, that was just one made for the NFL Film Highlight Archive. Dropped it right between two defenders. Working on Grimes and Coleman. And you're right, Tony. He answered the question.
And it was all set up because of the run. That was a play action. They sucked up the Falcons defense and got something over the top. That's what happens when you can run the ball effectively. That's something that's been missing from the Packers offense.
Crosby puts it through, so the Packers make it a 3-point game after stumbling out of the blocks here early. Now that's what I call a scoring drive, and for Aaron Rodgers, all 7 of his touchdowns coming on third down. And for Donald Driver, came into the game with the second most receiving yards here at Lambeau Field since 1970. He shows you why right there. Jarius Norwood back deep. Receives the Crosby kick. And what a kick it is. Norwood 3 yards deep. And once again, Tony, as we pointed out earlier, a lot of slipping going on. The Packers are alive. 10-7.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
This play is set up because of the run. Brent Grimes, the corner, and Eric Coleman, the safety, are affected by the run fake. Watch both their feet. Grimes slips, and Eric Coleman hesitates just enough to allow Donald Driver get behind everybody.
And Grimes slipped, Tony, because he was looking in the backfield, something that hurt him last week against Muhsin Muhammad when Muhammad had a big day, over 8 catches. He said he wanted to work on that this week.
Well, he didn't.
And this is Turner. Turner, not much inside. Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, they're happy they got on the board, but Donald Driver's left hand got stepped on. Trainers were testing out, trying to have him make a fist. He keeps holding it with his right hand. He was able to put that glove back on the left hand, but it was pretty funny. Greg Jennings was acting as his personal assistant, toweling him off after that TD, but he appears to be okay.
All right, Carissa, thank you very much. Things not okay for Atlanta's offense right now. They are backed up, looking at a 2nd and 9. Ryan will throw. Pressure. No place to go. He flips it out as long as he was out of the tackle box, and that ball got at least to the line of scrimmage. It will not be an intentional grounding.
The pressure was there because of the secondary. The Packers did a great job of covering up everyone down the field. Plenty of time to look around and scan the field. The offensive line does a good job with protection, but nobody outside is getting open, or at least nobody that Matt Ryan can see. You can see the secondary covering everyone up real well from the inside out. A lot of times when you're talking about pass rush, you need a secondary that can give enough time for those big guys up front to get there.
Nickel unit checks in for Green Bay. Baja Miller in at the bottom of your screen, 3rd and 9. Looking for the long post corner route. What a play. Pat Lee comes over, but a marker is down. Lee may have gotten there a little bit early.
Pass interference. Number 22, defense. Automatic. 1st down.
And that's the exact call. They're going to get Roddy White is going to work up the field and go out. Pat Lee does a good job of breaking and closing on the play, but they're going to say he gets there just a second. And it looks like that right arm gets in between him and the ball. It might have just kind of came down on Roddy White's arms just a hair early.
Green Bay with their 5th pass interference penalty. That is the most in the NFL.
Green Bay.
Timeout. We'll be back. 10-7 Atlanta. Well, coming up after football, watch the top 45 bull riders in the world compete at the Professional Bull Riders Built for a Tough Series, U.S. Air Force International. Yes, that's all one event. Don't miss all the action coming up after football right here on Fox.
Boy, you talk about being tough. You got to be tough to get on that bull. Tough or crazy, I haven't quite figured it out, but those guys get...
I think it's a little of both.
Yeah, they get abused out there.
Well, after the PI, 1st and 10 for Atlanta, and they get out of the hole. A big play for them. The quick turn route, incomplete. Roddy White hit him in the hands. He couldn't hold on. Working on Will Blackman.
And you can see the numbers, 1st downs and rushing yards. The Atlanta Falcons definitely dominating that 1st quarter. It wasn't until that last drive that the Green Bay Packers really got anything going. Let's see if the Falcons can take back control of this game.
We saw the time of possession there. The Falcons in a no-huddle situation.
Well, this is what they did well last week against Carolina. They got in a good rhythm, run and pass.
Ryan handing to Turner. You can see the way he stopped his feet. He had no shot there.
And what the Atlanta Falcons want to do in this no huddle, it's a 3-wide package. It's single back. And what they want to do is they're going to allow Matt Ryan to come to the line of scrimmage and decide if there's 6 or 7 guys in the tackle box. If there's 6 defenders, he'll check run. If there's 7, he'll check pass.
There's a look at Falcons offensive coordinator Mike Mularkey. Not afraid to put the entire offense in the hands of that man, the rookie, Matt Ryan. No training wheels for this kid. 3rd and 10. Pressure, unloads it early, but it's there. And that's Roddy White, and Roddy White across midfield for Falcons 1st down. Roddy White has been open all day, Tony.
Well, the Packers brought the blitz, and if you're going to blitz like that, Roddy White's right here going to work across the field, and you say, where is everybody? Well, they brought pressure. They expected to knock down Matt Ryan. And you want to talk about arm strength. The throw you see right there was made as Matt Ryan is backpedaling off his back foot with A.J. Hawk in his face.
Ryan with the keeper there.
And he does the smart
place to go.
Yeah. Listen, he's learned something as a rookie. Doesn't take him long as a quarterback in this league to realize you get outside the pocket in open space, get down. No reason to take any unnecessary hits. And they're back to the no-huddle, hurry-up offense.
Roddy White with almost 100 yards already receiving, 5 catches for 93 yards.
Look for a run. It looks like the Packers have 6 in the box. He should be checking run.
2nd and 9. They go pass. They block it. Wide open. That's the tight end, Justin Peel. And Peel is inside the 30-yard line.
And now we're on, you know why I played left tackle and not quarterback.
That one good for 15 and a first.
You got 6 guys in the box. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I would have thought they'd run against that because they have the numbers against that Packers offense. Maybe they saw the blitz was on by A.J. Hawk and check pass instead, though.
Ryan rated the #1 quarterback in this year's draft. A 2.5-year starter at Boston College.
And it's not just because of the physical stuff. Look at the mental ability to check as a rookie.
Hands it off. Turner trying to turn the corner. A missed tackle. Actually, wasn't going to turn the corner, but the missed tackle there by Collins let him do it. Let's go to Los Angeles for this game break. Kurt Menefee.
Everyone talking Carolina rookie Jonathan Stewart. D'Angelo Williams says, what about me? This is his 2nd touchdown of the game. Carolina leads Kansas City 14-0, and they've outgained them 213 yards to 5 midway through the 2nd quarter. Back to Green Bay and Ryan.
All right, thank you very much, Kurt. Pick up at 6. 2nd and 4. Ryan continuing to call the game at the line of scrimmage. No huddle. The fade route. Roddy White has it. Touchdown, Atlanta. No markers are down. Working on Will Blackman. 22 yards.
Got Roddy White working against Will Blackman one-on-one, and that's the reason they check pass here. And Roddy White doing a good job of hand fighting, a little bit of push-off, might have got away with one. But they went to the pass there because they had a single high safety knowing that Roddy White would be matched one-on-one outside. They saw the matchup, they liked it, and they went right to it.
Roddy White, the team's leading receiver last year. Turned out to be the big target again this year early for the new quarterback and Matt Ryan. And, you know, talking to owner Arthur Blank before the game, he said to a man throughout the organization, we were so impressed with this kid's poise, not just on the field, but off the field. Arthur said, I go to all the press conferences, I sit in the back, Matt doesn't know I'm there, and I listen to what he says and how he talks and how he handles himself, and he is definitely the new face of the franchise.
Well, you can add me to the list of guys impressed. I mean, that's not easy to do, go no huddle and read the coverage, read the fronts to decide what play you go in. You talk about off the field, he's a gym rat. You know, on Tuesday, Players' Day off, I was talking to Paul Boudreau, their offensive line coach. They say this kid gets there early on Tuesday, brings all the quarterbacks with him, showing leadership, does his off-the-field kind of charities and stuff in the community, and then comes back before dinner and starts talking to the coaches about what kind of game plan or what he wants to insert, what he likes and doesn't like. I mean, we're talking about a rookie here. I know a lot of veterans that don't put that much time in. He shows that he's a true pro. You can't say enough about the guy. I mean, watching him orchestrate that. I mean, deciding whether to check run or pass based on coverages and fronts, that's big time.
9 plays, 90 yards on the drive. A tough kick from Philadelphia. And this will be Blackman. Blackman with a lane. Will Blackman, one man to beat. And the Falcons finally corral him at about midfield. 45 yards on the big return by Blackman, who just gave up the touchdown.
Trying to redeem himself after giving up that touchdown against Roddy White. does a great job. It's untouched. Good job by the wedge of giving him a little bit of a seam there. And Brent Grimes doesn't make the play, but he slows him down enough to let the cavalry come in and make the play for him.
Boy, as a corner, when you've given up one, you love to come back and make some kind of redeeming play. And the Packers might want to think of putting a double on Roddy White. Of Ryan's 132 pass yards, 115 of those are to Roddy White. That's Ryan Grant for 5. Good first down run. Grant has been held under 30 yards rushing twice this season. Last week against Tampa Bay, 15 carries, 20 yards. Just not going to get it done. And we've already talked about how Mike McCarthy not only called the team out for that, particularly the offensive line, but as you said, Tony, he stepped up the intensity in practice.
It looks like it's working so far. They're starting to move the line of scrimmage.
Kept the pads on, a lot more hitting throughout the week. 2nd and 5. Cross it. It's there. That's Donald Lee. And we've talked about John Abraham and that matchup with the Packer offensive line. Let's check him out.
You talk about an offensive line who is challenged. And these guys have a lot of pride. Well, Chad Clifton right here working against John Abraham, getting physical, using his size and strength, but it's hard to shut out a guy like John Abraham. He is such a top-notch player. He gets a lot of credit for the pass rush, but he plays the run very effectively as well, as you saw right there.
Short 3rd and 1. Falcons trying to stop up the middle. Oh, it's going to depend on the spot. I believe he got it on that last lunge forward. That was Grant. And you could see the way the Falcon defensive tackles are clogging up that middle.
And the Packers, you know, they were out physical against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They really felt like the Buccaneer defensive line played on their side of the line of scrimmage. We've talked about it a couple times. They put the pads on. They got physical. And as they've gotten this run game going a little bit, you've seen the front of Atlanta get pushed back a little bit. And it's so important that to happen. It allows the running back, Ryan Grant, to get into the line of scrimmage before he has to make his cut. And you can see they got just enough push right there by the nose of the football to get the first down. But I'm sorry about that, Rob, but when they're the scheme that they want to run, Mike McCarthy wants to run, is that zone scheme. And what kills the zone blocking is penetration. You can't allow that defensive line to get any penetration because it messes up the timing between the backs and the offensive line.
Well said by my Pro Bowl partner, Mr. Tony Baselli. So that's a 1st and 10 for the Green Bay Packers. 4 minutes and counting. Green Bay with 2 timeouts. Atlanta with 2. Play action. Looking for Driver. There he is. Driver skating across the middle of the field. And I guess that hand is okay as he does his dance. 14 yards and a Packer first.
Ron, play action pass. We've talked about it again. Eric Coleman watched the safety, read the run, and just step just up enough to allow Donald Driver, who's going to work in the hole in the middle of the field. What a great picture we saw right there of Coleman biting up on the run. Donald Driver, the veteran receiver, finding that hole in the zone.
Back to the run game. Pressure in the backfield. That was all John Abraham. Looked like he took tackle completely back to the backfield.
That was John Abraham, Grady Jackson, those 2 big guys right in the backfield. We said it a second ago. What will stop the zone run game is penetration. And when the defensive end and the defensive tackle are playing in the backfield, oh, what a great play. Sorry, Grady, you did nothing on that play. That was John Abraham taking the tackle and extending him and bench pressing him into the backfield and making the play. All pro play by that defensive end, John Abraham.
A loss of 4. 2nd and long. Another inside throw. Driver again. Driver making a living in the middle of the field here.
I think Donald Driver's hand's okay, and I think Aaron Rodgers' shoulder's feeling pretty good. He told us, boy, I love talking to him on Friday. And you could see the competitiveness in his eyes and the desire to play. And he said, listen, if I can do it, if the strength is there, I'll deal with the pain. I can handle the pain. And right now, obviously, the He's making all the throws, and he must be managing that pain pretty well.
And that's the 2-minute warning. Atlanta up 17-7. A third down coming up. Rodgers 2 for 3, 51 yards, and a big touchdown to Donald Driver on that third down. And Tony Driver, as always, has been able to work effectively inside the slot.
Yeah, he's working in the slot over the middle of the field, and he's doing a good job of the veteran finding the soft place in the zone.
Empty backfield. Throw is going to have to come out relatively quick. He holds it. That's what I meant by come out quick. Sack. John Abraham. That's his 7th of the year.
We talked about earlier for the Falcons that defensive line getting pressure, but it was really the product of the secondary doing a good job. Same thing. That's a complete coverage sack. Don't put that on the offensive line or on Chad Clifton going against John Abraham. And John Abraham needs to go thank all those guys in the back, the back 7 of covering up those Packer receivers.
43 yards out now for Mason Crosby. He hit from 60 in pregame warm-up. It's straight. He's got enough leg. And a marker goes down late here.
Holding, number 88, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
That's a big one. Now that takes the points off of the board. That's against Jermichael Finley.
Well, you said he made it from 60. I hope.
Yeah, we might see that, huh?
We might get a chance to test that.
But, Tony, we see it every week, and those are the little things that get you beat week in and week out.
Oh, it's the mental errors more times than not, Ron. I mean, teams are so good. The parity in this league, they're so closely even matched. It's the team often who doesn't make the big mistake. Doesn't make it more difficult on themselves to score points.
Let's go from 53 yards out. Nope, there you go. So the penalty costs the Green Bay Packers points. And that's Green Bay's 13th hold
outside the 20-yard
of the season, the most
to the spot of the kick,
in the NFL. And on top of that, Atlanta will take over at the spot of the kick, not the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, so that penalty, the holding penalty, cost them 3 points in field position.
That's right.
Because now the Atlanta Falcons are almost to midfield. They've shown a lot of success of moving the ball. The Packers have been struggling there. So, boy, you put yourself in a big hole. The rookie, Jermichael Finley, he's going to hear earful from Mike Stock, the special teams coach. Costly penalty.
3rd round pick out of Texas. Blowing it here in the first half. So now Atlanta, as we set the table for them, coming off of a long scoring drive in a no-huddle situation. Now they've got 2 timeouts, the football in pretty good field possession. And, of course, the guy who's done damage all this first half, Roddy White, working on Tramon Williams. And Roddy White has had a very good first half. Started out some big pass plays early, and it almost looks like they've lost coverage on him. White with 7 catches for 122 yards. And they say, hey, let's spread it around a little bit. Give somebody else a chance to play, Tony. That's Michael Jenkins.
Second charge timeout, Atlanta. A 30-second timeout.
Timeout, Atlanta. Let's get to know Roddy White.
In high school, not only did I play football, I also wrestled. I'm 2-time state champion, baby, and I never lost a match in my senior year. It's part of the White family's tradition. My Uncle Leonard won 3 state championships. My cousin Carl Champagne won 2 state championships. And my other cousin Al won 1 state championship. I'm Roddy White, and you just got to know me.
Ron, no wonder he's so physical with those corners. He's a wrestler. Tough sports in high school and college to do real wrestling, not the fake stuff, but the real stuff. And Roddy White, boy, now you've got a little bit of an insight why he can get outside and hand fight with those corners so well.
Did they get you to wrestle? No.
I tried it in junior high, it didn't work out so well.
The pump and go, it wasn't there. A marker goes down. The throw inside, it's complete to Norwood, but this may be coming back.
Thrown right in the area, Ron, the ball, the dreaded place that the offensive linemen hate more than anything. Looks like it's going to be holding.
Number 73, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
That's Harvey Dahl, the right guard.
And he was the one who's penalized a couple times last week on key drives that took them out of potentially touchdown scoring drives and forced them to kick field goals. 2 holding penalties by Harvey. I thought they were very questionable. But one thing that's not questionable, if you get your hands in the face of a defender, they're going to flag you for it.
Don't forget the Visa halftime report coming your way. With Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy, they'll have all the latest scores, highlights, and action from around the NFL. 1 timeout left for Atlanta. The slant route inside, that's White. White has it. Now they're trying to hustle up to the line.
10.
The ball slow to come in, the clock moving. They kill it. That costs about 4 seconds waiting for the ball to come in. Atlanta's first half offense in the 2 wins. You see the points, and then in the 2 losses.
Well, they've definitely been playing winning football on offense so far. And defensively, they start off slowly, had a couple of hiccups. But overall, this Atlanta team's giving Mike Smith what he asked for. We can talk about sustainability. Coming out here, do what you do at home on the road.
A 3rd and 10. 18 seconds left. Throw inside, knocked away nicely by Pat Lee. Lee, the rookie, the 2nd-round pick out of Auburn.
Well, you don't have to guess where the ball's going if you're the Green Bay Packers. And if you're lined up against him like Pat Lee, wow, what a great jam right there, and good finish of the play, slapping down on the ball. But as I was saying, if you're a corner today and you want to know where Matt Ryan's going to throw, if you got Roddy White in front of you, get ready to play football, because the ball's probably coming your way.
So the Falcons will bring on Kanan. He'll try to kill this one inside the 10-yard line. Blackman lets it go. He's going to try his luck. The luck is no good. That ball is down inside the 2-yard line. Nice shot by Michael Kanan. His 7th inside the 20. Michael Boley hustling down for the down. As I said, the Visa halftime report coming up. Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. The scores and highlights. And plus the Fox Sports ticker coming your way in about 4 seconds.
Well, you'll definitely see the kneel down, just something safe. 4 seconds left, backed up.
No play action going deep.
I don't think we're going to see a deep. This is where your Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy just got done telling you, make sure you get this snap. Let's just get the snap, get down, and make sure we get in the locker room. The question is, you're this close to the end zone. Can you kneel down and not make it a safety?
And that's exactly what they'll do. And that is the half here in Green Bay. Atlanta with the lead, 17-7. Coming up, the Visa halftime report. The guys will have all the info from around the NFL. We are at the half here in Green Bay. Atlanta up 17-7 over the Green Bay Packers. Ron Pitts, Tony Baselli, and Tony. Atlanta did what they have talked about doing on the road, haven't been able to do, and that's get out to that fast start. Yeah, they had the first drive where they scored 7 and really kept it up. Were consistent. Matt Ryan threw the ball very well, but it goes back to the fact they were able to run the ball consistently the first time on the road this season. And on the other side, I think for Matt Ryan, talking about his performance, 13 of 18 for 154, 2 touchdowns. Very good for a rookie quarterback here. Well, I mean, he's shown us all year so far that we've watched him that he has both mentally and physically the whole package. He runs the no huddle like a veteran. He hits guys. He stays poised even when things aren't going well. You almost can't say enough good things about him so far. Absolutely. Let's go down for the second half kickoff. All right, so we are set to go here in the second half. Green Bay will get the ball. And that's Will Blackman. Blackman victimized by a Roddy White touchdown. And really, Roddy White has victimized the entire secondary. Started out hot and continues hot. Bobbled. Jordy Nelson picks it up. Now Nelson trying to turn the corner. A marker goes down, and as he gets around the corner and out of bounds at about the 27-yard line. But let's check the flag.
That's going to be holding.
Holding during the return, number 24 of the return team, half the distance to the goal. First down.
Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, speaking to both coaches at halftime, for Mike Smith, he was ecstatic about the way that they had that fast start, as he's talked about all week long. Loves the offensive rhythm and says, Roddy White, what a player. For Mike McCarthy, it's all about defending Roddy White. He said, we got to stay on our feet, a bunch of blown coverages. We basically just got to clean it up defensively.
Green Bay's second special teams penalty today, leading the NFL in the special teams penalties department. 1st and 10 for Rodgers. Grant trying to turn the corner. Grimes is there, along with Brooking. A pickup of 1, and a look at the fantasy update here. If you got Matt Ryan right, you're winning.
I hope people started Roddy White today, because 125 yards and a touchdown in the first half, those would be good numbers if you played 2 halves. And Mike McCarthy said it. You better locate and recognize where number 84 Roddy White is all day long in the second half.
2nd down and 9.
Slide.
Driver's been able to work good in the middle of the field. Goes back outside. That's the tight end. That's Donald Lee. And I believe they marked that good enough for a first down.
Ron, the big story coming in this week was Aaron Rodgers' shoulder. Would he be able to make the throws? Would he be strong enough? Watching this game, if I didn't know he had injured his shoulder last week, you would notice no difference. He's made all the throws. The long ball down the middle of the field to Donald Driver was an absolute strike. He's thrown the outs with velocity on the ball. He's doing a really good job of managing the situation so far.
It is a first down indeed. Grant knifing inside. Grant with some daylight. And that's a nice first down run, about 8 or 9. Malloy on the tackle. Rodgers, 3-year backup behind Brett Favre, finally getting his shot this year. Of course, Favre traded to the Jets this preseason after what looked and seemed like a goodbye retirement press conference in the offseason. Then the soap opera unfolded here in Green Bay. And Mike McCarthy talked about it. Really unfair, not only to the rest of the team, but in particular, Aaron Rodgers being labeled as the bad guy for no apparent reason other than being the guy that has to come in and replace Brett Favre. Rodgers on the hoof and throws it out of bounds. Jamal Anderson on the chase.
When you talk about unfair, it was only unfair because it's his first start. It's a difficult enough position to be in if you're replacing a legend and the legend has gone away. And you think he goes away, and all of a sudden you have these big shoes to fill. That's not enough. The legend decides to show back up during training camp, and you're going, wait a second. I can't win or lose here. Tough spot, but Aaron Rodgers has handled it like a pro, and he's shown why they had confidence in going with him this year.
This is a 3rd down and 1. Grant in the backfield. They'll give to Grant. He's got to get 1. Gets outside, lowers his shoulder, and he's got the 1 and a first down. Questionable hold maybe there on John Abraham.
Well, he's complaining about the hold, but Chad Clifford matched up man on man. That's not a hold. That's a good block.
That is. He's got inside there.
I'm an offensive tackle, so you almost have to tackle the guy and wrap him up and bear hug him for me to say that it's a hold. But listen, he finished the block. And you have to finish guys like John Abraham. It's not good enough just to get in their way. It's not good enough just to start. You got to try to put them on their back and make sure he can't get back into the play.
Good for 5 and a first. Pressure Foley. They get it off, but not a lot after that. Brooking is there to round up Brandon Jackson. Let's revisit our game within a game, talking about John Abraham.
Well, we knew coming in that the Packers were going to have to account what John Abraham was, and Mark Tauscher did a good job right there, but John Abraham saying, let me get back at you, big boy. If you're going to bury me, I'm going to try to bury you too. And John Abraham has been coming all day long. He has the sack. He's playing the run as well. He's a guy you have to account for.
2nd down and 10. Jackson trying to fight inside for a couple. And, you know, another question surrounding Aaron Rodgers, really the injury bug. Suffered a season-ending broken foot back in 2006 and a pulled hamstring late in the regular season that year. Seems like when he got in, you know, he had to fight injuries himself, and so a lot of people were wondering, would there be extra pressure now coming off of Brett Favre and the consecutive starts here in Green Bay at 253? Would he almost force himself to play with this bad shoulder?
We asked him that question, and I thought the same thing as you just said, Ron. He said, absolutely not. It has nothing to do with it. I'm a competitor. If I can play, I'm going to play.
3rd down and 8. Throw inside, complete, and a first down. Greg Jennings relatively quiet today with Driver getting going, but you see Jennings showing up for a first. 20 yards.
Ron, if there's something wrong with his shoulder, I mean, more quarterbacks should hope to get it. Because
whatever that is,
whatever that is, can you get it? Because look at that. That is a fastball over the middle of the field. It's perfect. I mean, he is showing no effect of getting, you know, separating or spraining his shoulder last week.
Empty backfield. Last time the Packers did this, it was a sack, and that's a bad snap. Rodgers picks it up, now looking to make a play, and very wisely throws it away. Scott Wells sent that one out a little high, and Rodgers with the look kind of laughs it off.
Well, he's only laughing it off because he was able to pick up the ball.
Right.
Not turn it over. And then he did the veteran thing. Was very aware where he was on the field. Understood, okay, here's the tackle box. I got to get outside my tackles, and then I can throw it wherever I want. It won't be a penalty. Scott Wells now is thinking next time he does the shotgun, I got to get a little bit lower. Help my guy out.
Packers in the I formation. They'll go run. The bounce out attempt by Grant, not there. Marker comes up. Grimes came up from the cornerback spot.
Number 84, offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat 2nd down.
That's Torrey Humphrey, 3rd-year man out of Central Michigan, gets popped for the hold.
And he was working against Chauncey Davis, the backup of John Abraham. And Chauncey Davis did a good job of getting penetration, working straight up the field, and really forced Troy Humphrey to hang on for dear life, and he got caught. And Mike McCarthy right now, I mean, it's tough to call plays when you're getting consistently backed up. If you're in 2nd and 20, you know, there's not a lot of plays, and he's thinking, okay, as a play caller, now let me figure out what I can do just to try to get back in some good down and distance. If I can get to, you know, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, that is manageable.
And make that 14 holding penalties now. 2nd and long. Rodgers holding the ball a long time. Way back field. A man wide open. That's Jennings. He was wide open. But Rodgers, coming off a sore shoulder, not enough mustard to get it there.
You know, Ron, I'm not sure. That was my first thought, too. He's short, you know, was a little short. Was it the arm? I think he rushed it.
Yeah.
He got outside the pocket, and he saw that Greg Jennings was so wide open.
Rushed the throw.
He didn't set his feet and take his time. He felt like he had to speed it up the clock a little bit to get the ball there. And when you do that, the mechanics get out. You don't follow through with your weight transfer, and the ball ends up coming up a little short.
3rd down and 20. Falcons showing the zone defense. Check down underneath. That's Jackson. That's not even close. And a few boos come out here in Green Bay. And that'll bring on the punt team for Green Bay.
We talked about the matchup right here. John Abraham working at Clifton and just runs right by him. Does a good job of hand slapping Clifton's hands off him, dipping the shoulder. The Packers are fortunate that was a quick pass, 3-step, telling Aaron Rodgers to get the ball out of his hand. Otherwise, that would have been a sack.
So this is Frost. Frost struggling, punting the ball. He'll kick away to Adam Jennings. Gets some decent height on that one. Forces the fair catch at about the 10-yard line. Packer fans will take that one from Derek Frost. (17-7) Atlanta still in control of this one. And they got off to the good start and have stayed very consistent, and that is what Mike Smith talked about coming into today's game. Sustainability. And Roddy White has been the one who has done the damage. 1st and 10. They'll give to Turner. Not a lot there for Turner. And Roddy White today, 8 catches for 132 yards. I said earlier, Tony, maybe they might want to think of putting a double on him.
Well, that's the ultimate respect to the receiver, and you know that. And Roddy White is starting to earn that respect. He had the 1,000-plus yard year last year, and just picked up where he left off this year. And with Matt Ryan, quite the duo, and really dominating in the first half.
2nd down and 7. Give to Turner again. Turner, he'll bounce it. He's got some speed now. That's a 1st down and then a little more. Tramon Williams runs him out of bounds. A late marker. That could be a hit out of bounds. 14 yards. Let's listen to the call from our referee, Carl Sheffers.
Unnecessary roughness, number 36, defense, late hit out of bounds, 15-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
That's the free safety, Nick Collins.
Watch this matchup right here. Ben Hartsock against Michael Montgomery. Michael Montgomery's in for the injured Colin Jenkins, who is absolutely dominating. And you can see Atlanta taking advantage of the opportunity. Trust me, Ben Hartsock, nothing against him, he would not block. And then there you see the late hit. But they would not have the confidence of blocking Jenkins one-on-one. They do blocking Michael Montgomery one-on-one. They want to exploit that matchup.
Play action. Looking deep. And it's incomplete. Intended for Michael Jenkins. Charles Woodson on the tight coverage.
And Michael Jenkins really never found the ball. He was kind of floating, he was looking for it. And part of that was because of the perfect coverage by Charles Woodson.
You see Woodson jump outside there. The guy does that usually because he's got some help inside, Tony. And Woodson playing with a broken pinky toe. As a football player, you're almost ashamed to say that, but if you've ever had one, it is a major issue. He's playing very good football. Football, I think, at a Pro Bowl level right now. 2nd and 10, toss. Norwood jumps over the pile and gets a few inside. They call it 3.
And we kind of talked about it at the beginning of the game. This Green Bay defense really struggling so far this year to stop the run. Teams have had some success, and it hasn't been, pounding every play, but it's been 3 here, 4 there, and then a big play. Really, the yards add up, and then on top of that, they lose a guy like Colin Jenkins. It really hurting this front 4 of the Packers. And this is where he was especially dangerous. Jenkins is on 3rd down and rushing the passer.
3rd down and 7. The heater inside, and it's there. Guess who? Roddy White. And wait, there's some discussion as to whether or not that was a catch. And Roddy White screaming to the sidelines to review the call.
The ruling on the field is that the receiver bobbled the ball and then the ball hit the ground. It's an incomplete pass. 4th down.
And the red marker is out already. That is the challenge flag.
And Roddy White was campaigning that he caught the ball. And Mike Smith listened to him. You can see the bobbling. And the question is, boy, from that angle, it looks like he never has it. As long as the arms stay in between the ground and the ball, and he controls it, they'll call that a completion.
Atlanta is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. Timeout.
Yeah.
I'm not sure Mike Smith should have listened to Roddy White. Should have waited for the replay, because clearly from that angle it looks like a drop.
And here's Carl Sheffers with a verdict.
After review, the receiver did not have possession of the ball when the ball hit the ground. The ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass. 4th down, Atlanta. They will be charged with their first timeout.
You were right, Tony. Don't listen to your players all the time.
I think Mike Smith will learn from this first-year coach. You got to be careful listening to the players right away. Clearly didn't have it. I think if you if Mike Smith would have waited a little bit longer
Yeah.
and seen what the guys upstairs would have said, he would have hesitated throwing that red flag.
So it costs Atlanta a timeout. One that you never know could come back to haunt him. Kanan punting away to Blackman. Blackman will get away from it. And that ball, look at that, rolls right down to the 2-yard line. That's 2 today for Michael Kanan. 53-yard punt down by Antoine Harris. Packer ball backed up when we come back. And Packer fans are going to try to make a deal for Michael Kanan to keep him from getting on the plane and going back to Atlanta. He's killed 2 inside the 2-yard line, and they're wishing that their punter, Cross, could do the same thing. Ooh, and a vicious hit there by Grimes on Ryan Grant. Let's go for a game break out in Los Angeles. Here's Kurt Menefee.
Bears and Lions, the more things change, the more they stay the same. Matt Forte, his second touchdown of the game. Bears up 24-0 in the third. So Ron and Tony, I guess the bye week nor the firing of Matt Millen has made a difference for the Lions yet.
And I'm with Howie Long on that one. It's a much bigger problem than just the general manager right now.
And that's playing true today, down 24-0. The Bears. Boy, the Bears are having a much better season. Kyle Orton playing better than I think anyone expected.
Okay. What's this?
Packers backed up, 2nd and 9. Give to Grant. Grant ran tough for the first couple yards, and the white shirts got to him, led by Curtis Lofton. That's the rookie. 3 yards on the play.
And as a Green Bay Packer offense right now, Mike McCarthy is thinking one thing only at first. Let's get 1 first down. You talk about the punter struggling, Derek Frost. The last thing you want him to do is be punted back on his end line, back in the end zone. Enough things going on in that young guy's mind right now. If we get 1 first down, get him out of the shadows of our end zone, that'll help him out quite a bit.
Green Bay's last 3 drives starting on their own 3.7-yard line. That's what a punter will do for you. 3rd and 6. The outside route, that's Martin. And Martin with a big first down. Ruvel Martin moves the chains.
And that's a victory for the Packers offense. And the Falcons defense on the other side, boy, you're really frustrated right now because your special teams did everything you wanted, backed them up. You know, Brian Van Gorder, the defensive coordinator for the Falcons right now, is kicking himself a little bit because, hey, listen, I got these guys backed up. And Brian Van Gorder is the guy who will be talking to Keith Brooking, who has the green dot, setting up the defensive fronts he wants.
Pressure inside. Kendall Moorhead, that ball thrown to the ground. Arm going forward. They're going to call it an incomplete pass.
But getting a little bit of pressure up in the front, and Kendall Moorhead beaten, I think that's Tauscher. Actually, that was Scott Wells, right off the ball and getting Aaron Rodgers' face before he can do anything. And we talked about it a second ago. Brian Van Gorder will give him the plays, but also give him some keys to the Packers offense of what to look for.
2nd and 10. Throw over the middle. Martin again, and Martin's got a first down.
And that's one thing, Ron, no matter how much technology you have, you know, you can have the defensive coordinator, Brian Van Gorder, telling Keith Brooking what to do and what the keys are and what defense to line up in. But at the end of the day, it comes to doing the fundamentals right, and that's tackling. They had the right defense on. They had them shut down, short of a first down, and Martin made a play, and Lord Malloy, the safety, didn't come up and get it. It was a missed tackle, and that's what led to the first down.
Chad Clifton out of the game. Alan Barber, the backup, slides up to the left guard spot, while Darren College slides out to left tackle. That's Grant. Grant with about 4.
You talk about Alan Barber coming in at left guard. Darren Coolidge will move out, the 3rd-year player out of Boise State, the left tackle, and guess what he gets for that great, hey, thank you very much for coming outside. But on 3rd down, number 55, John Abraham will be coming to rush on your side. And we saw Clifton sitting on the sideline right there with the hamstring wrapped up with some ice.
2nd down and 6. And over the middle, it's complete. It's a 2nd-round pick out of Kansas State, Jordy Nelson.
We can see this Packer offense getting in a little bit of rhythm, using the short passing game.
Rodgers a little slow to get up there. He had that I'm in pain look. Didn't get hit.
Yep.
I think that's that arm. There
that's the shoulder right there. I've had a shoulder like that. You can hang it. When it's hanging like that, that means that joint is a little bit sore, maybe inflamed.
The give to Ryan. Ryan with a lane. And Ryan with a first down. Malloy saves maybe a touchdown, 14 yards.
And that's the best thing you can do for a quarterback who's beat up a little bit with an arm, is run the ball. And great man-on-man blocking. It was one of the schemes says you go get your guy and stay on him, and everyone cover their defender up and allow the running back to run to daylight. And boy, there was a lot of daylight for Ryan Grant to choose from.
Ryan Grant comes out, takes a blow, nice run. First and 10, looking deep. It's not there. And he throws it away. Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, an update real quick on Chad Clifton. He is out with that hamstring injury, that left hamstring. I've been told that it's a coach's decision. If Mike McCarthy feels like they need him, they will put him back in. But right now, he remains to be seated on the sidelines.
Your take on that, Tony?
My takes on that will be determined how Darren Coolidge blocks number 55. That'll determine the coach's decision. I mean, you know, Chad Clifton's a good left tackle in this league, and he had his hands full with John Abraham. Well, you get Coolidge out, College out there, College who hasn't played a lot of snaps at left tackle, now faced with a Pro Bowler. Yeah. Boy, you know, you have his hands full. That can be a difficult assignment when you're a left tackle playing every snap.
First charge timeout, Green Bay.
And the Green Bay Packers looking at a second down here with a big time of possession. But that's all in fine and dandy.
0 points.
Yeah, if you can get points off of it. The safety valve. That's Jackson. Jackson, not a lot. Nice tackle there in the open field by Brent Grimes.
He just grabbed on those legs and held on for dear life and said, I'm not letting go. You might drag me down the field, but I'm not going to let go. And you saw the little, I'm sorry, Ronnie. You saw a little bit of a kind of the swing pass from Aaron Rodgers, and you got to wonder with him hanging his shoulder a little bit, do you try the shorter passes, maybe some stuff over the middle of the field so he doesn't have to make those long out throws. It'll be interesting to see how Mike McCarthy calls plays.
A loss of 1 on the play. He had Donald Driver open early in the game across the middle. That's a high grab there and a nice grab. James Jones, and Jones is going to be about a yard or 2 shy of the first down. Stephen Nicholas on the tackle.
A good job of the Atlanta Falcons defense, really swarming, making sure where that guy was stayed short. And we can see Aaron Rodgers kind of grimacing as he comes off the field, hanging that shoulder, hanging that arm again. And that is a sign of a sore shoulder.
And Tony, that brings up a great point. Actually, you teed it up initially. How long does Mike McCarthy let him go if indeed he can't make certain throws right now?
Well, I think it's like he said about Chad Clifton, it's a coach's decision. You kind of call your offense and you watch. And does the velocity of the ball he's throwing kind of change a little bit? How is it effective?
50 yards out, Crosby. I don't see any markers this time. It's good. So the Packers hold on to the ball, run the clock, and come away with points. But the question, how is his arm? Aaron Rodgers going over the Polaroids, as we say, the snapshots from the offense, offensive formations and defensive formations. Tony, you brought up a good point during the break, and going the break, his health and the arm. What do? You
just got to watch him. Watch how he's throwing the ball. Watch, how he reacts after he's throwing the ball. How often is that shoulder hanging?
Norwood will sit on this one. Well, the Bush-Clinton Coastal Fund was established to help the recovery and rebuild the infrastructure in the Galveston-Houston area from Hurricanes Ike and Gustav. For more information, please log on to bushclintoncoastalfund.org.
Boy, those two areas got hit hard this summer. Both in Galveston, part of the beach was completely wiped out. I have friends in Houston and were without power for a long time. Trees falling on roofs. Tough situation. Tough situation down there.
The stadium with some damage. Texans had to move out of town for a few days. Going deep. Got a man open. Overthrown. Look for the quick shot right off the bat to Michael Jenkins.
And I'm
Williams on the coverage.
A little surprised about coming out on this series with that call. We showed the time of possession just a second ago. Over 11 minutes for the Green Bay Packers in this quarter. Atlanta's offense has not been on the field. The defense is, you can start seeing them wear out a little bit. I would expect them to come run the ball, try to get something sustained, a long drive, and if for nothing else, to give the defense a rest.
And Jenkins did have a step. The ball overthrown. Go back to the run game. That's Turner still grinding. He got 4. And Tony, like you say, the big picture now, work on the clock. If you do anything, hold the ball and bleed the time here at head by 7. That's the end of the third quarter. Atlanta up 17-10. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages from your local Fox station. Aaron Rodgers warming up, trying to keep that arm loose. We saw a series ago, may have re-injured that shoulder. Came into the game diagnosed as a shoulder sprain. 3rd and 5. Ryan, he's going to go for his, and then some. Matt Ryan is all the way out to about the 45-yard line. And 17 yards on that scramble by Ryan. Ron Pitts along with Tony Baselli. And Tony, what do you do? I mean, we keep talking about this situation with Aaron Rodgers. You're within striking distance now.
Well, I mean, you keep him in the game. You've gone this far. Unless there's structural damage or he's saying he can't do it, you stay with the guy. He's proven that he has the toughness to handle the pain and to manage that. I don't think you can pull him out right now.
A big first down by Atlanta there on the scramble by Ryan. That's Michael Turner. A pickup of 1. There are the numbers through 3 quarters.
And a nice balanced attack by the Atlanta Falcons. And then the other thing that stands out to me is the pass yards. 159, not huge numbers, but just the fact that Aaron Rodgers has thrown for that many yards. I mean, this guy did not practice all week. Barely threw the ball yesterday on Friday when we were here. Was in like the Hudson Center a little hidden away to see if he could do it today, and he's come out with a lot of moxie and he's played very well.
Haley in motion. 2nd and 9. A completion and a great tackle. Nick Collins.
One of the big losses last week for this Packer team was Colin Jenkins. Maybe one of the best defensive linemen or playing at the highest level in the NFL this year. Was so disruptive, and you can see the lack of his presence today. Matt Ryan has only been hit 1 time, 0 sacks, barely hurried. They're getting no pressure. KGB, their pass rusher, Aaron Campman, they have not been able to get home. Give credit to the Falcons offensive line, but also glaring, it's obvious that it's a glaring weakness right now without Colin Jenkins.
And that was Ryan's first completion of the second half. 3rd and 7, looking deep, it's not there. The scramble's on. Throwing back across his body. That's a long throw, and it's caught. What a catch. Michael Jenkins, a marker is down, and that's in the area of pass interference or illegal contact, working on Will Blackman. Maybe even a face mask. But what a catch by Jenkins, a 5th-year man out of Ohio State, the 1st-round pick back in 2004.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 27 of the defense grabbing the helmet opening That 15-yard penalty is measured half the distance. First down.
Michael Jenkins is going to be in the slot, and he's going to work all the way down and across the field. And the reason he's able to run that far is because, again, zero pressure on Matt Ryan. And he's just jogging there, and then he sees, hey, I'm still in this play. And turns on the afterburners a little bit. Oh, definitely a personal foul. And Blackman, not purposeful, but just fighting for the ball, and catches his face mask and almost rips his head off. But again, a testament to that offensive line, giving Matt Ryan all day, allowing the receiver to run across the field.
He knows when he's got all day, he knows where to go with the football. He's got men everywhere open. What an interception! Tramon Williams. What looked like an easy touchdown, Ryan doesn't get enough of it, and Tramon Williams comes down with his second interception of the year.
Rookie mistake, he waited too long, he was wide open, but he had first rookie mistake today.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. For all your home improvement needs, Lowe's. Let's build something together. By Prilosec OTC. Prilosec OTC, the round-the-clock heartburn blocker. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you've got to get DirecTV.
The first interception of the game for Ryan, and boy, it was a big one. And that just may have turned the energy here at Lambeau. The crowd got into it, and now it is Packers ball, down by 7. And they'll come out throwing, middle of the field, there it is, and then some. Torrey Humphrey inside Atlanta territory.
I guess his arm feels good enough to make this throw. Troy Humphrey just going to work down the seam, the middle of the field. And you can see Brent Grimes just doesn't get over to his area of the zone quick enough. Nice throw and easy catch for Troy Humphrey.
And Grimes goes out of the game. Chevis Jackson, the rookie third-round pick out of LSU, comes in. 37 yards for Humphrey. The toss, Grant looking for a lane. Ooh, that's helmet to helmet. And he's still going. Ryan Grant with a great second effort runs over Curtis Lofton and picks up a first down.
Well, I guess getting back to the fundamentals and training camp attitude work this week for the Green Bay Packers. They talked about Ryan Grant was running bent over at his waist too much, not bending his knees. Well, guess what? All the gauntlet drills, all the bag drills, all the 9-on-7 drills worked today because he was bending his knees there and ran over the Falcon defense.
Packers go to 2 tight ends. Quick throw and a completion. That's Humphrey again. Let's go back to that interception in the end zone.
Yeah, it set the whole thing up. Got the tight end, Hartsock, working right here against Tramon Williams. And Tramon Williams bites up on the play fake. But here's the problem. First rookie mistake. He's wide open. Matt Ryan's got to set his feet and throw it. Look how long it took him to get his body turned, and then doesn't put enough air on the ball. And then it took a spectacular play by Tramon Williams to go up with the one hand.
Williams subbing for the injured Al Harris, who's got the ruptured spleen. Harris still on the roster, could come back later on. Going for the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay. No flags. Greg Jennings.
Well, I guess Aaron Rodgers' shoulders feeling a little bit better. I guess that answers our question, Ron. What do you do as a coach to keep him in? He's going to make throws like that. How dare you sit him down?
The third touchdown of the year for Greg Jennings. The extra point is clean. And so the Packers, after the interception in the end zone by Tramon Williams, have come back and tied this thing up here in the fourth quarter. 4 plays, 80 yards, a touchdown, and it started off with the big play to Torrey Humphrey. And I don't care what you say, bad shoulder, you're down in the game, you come in and you go down the field to tie things up. That is very Favre-like.
Yeah, I was going to say, there used to be a guy here for a long time who did stuff like that and was a hero. Well, a hero might be born again in Aaron Rodgers, because he's doing everything he can do to help this team win a football game today.
All you have to do is win games, and this won't get it done. That's Jarius Norwood. Norwood with a great return. Norwood is in Packer territory. Finally brought down by Brandon Jackson, 54 yards, and great field position as we're tied up here in Green Bay, thanks to that man, Aaron Rodgers.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Cadillac. Introducing the 2009 Cadillac Escalade Hybrid.
The Falcons outscored 27-6 in the second half on the road this year. Thus far, this second half in this game, outscored 10-zip. And that's Michael Turner with a nice first down run. Campman on the tackle. No catches in the second half of Roddy White. They might want to get back to that. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers has just been unconscious.
Well, you can see,
arm or not,
you can see the arm hanging there in the third quarter. He is grimacing and wincing in pain, but all of a sudden he comes out. Superman shows up. Last drive, he's pinpoint accuracy, and even the long ball to James for the touchdown. And it's amazing how that shoulder can feel all of a sudden raised up over your hand when you score a touchdown.
9 yards on the last carry. They give it to the big man inside. And you can see why I call him the big man. That's Obi Mahaley. And Mahaley dragging guys forward for the first down. He works down to the Green Bay Packer 30-yard line, tackled by Hawk.
And I like what Mike Mularkey's doing right here. This Falcons team needed to answer. You got to remember that whole last drive, the series by the Packers, was predicated by by the Matt Ryan interception in the end zone. You got a young team, a young quarterback. Come out and be physical. Run the ball. That's what you do best still as a team. And on the road, hostile crowd, that's the best way to take the crowd out of it.
The first carry of the year for Mahaley. The old flip 90 play. Trying to get it outside as quick as they can. Not much there. That's Norwood. Boy, Nick Collins, if you want a hard-hitting safety, that's your guy.
Well, I mean, and just like I gave kudos to Mike Mularkey, I'm going to say there's something negative there. I mean, if you want to get the defense back into it, I mean, why run outside? The last two plays, Michael Turner, straight up the gut. You're dominating the interior of the defensive line. Then you have Obi Mahaley, your fullback, up the middle. And I know a change of pace, but you get outside like that. I just feel like too many things bad can happen. Why get away from what's working?
2nd and 10. No place for Ryan. Throws it away. And we'll bring up a third down.
No place to go with the ball, but, you know, take your hat off to the secondary of the Packers. They're doing that while they're getting zero pass rush from the front four. They are not even affecting Matt Ryan at all. And if they do that if they don't start figuring something out, whether they have to blitz them, you know, Bob Sanders, the defensive coordinator, needs to change it up, because they got to pressure Matt Ryan, because sooner or later he's going to find somebody down the field.
3rd and 10. It would still be a long field goal from here. Complete Norwood. Norwood's going to be short of the first down. A great job there by A.J. Hawk, battling a bad groin. And now an easier field goal, I should say, for Jason Elam.
And you talked about A.J. Hawk. He battled a groin injury all week. Practiced Wednesday and Thursday. Sat out on Friday. Talked to him. He felt like he could go, but it was definitely hampering him. You could see it on film. But did a good job of hanging in there against a very quick and explosive Jarius Norwood.
He has not missed this year. 41 yards out to break the tie. That's clean. No markers are down, and the Falcons answer. They come right down the field, and they get 3 points. We've got a good one here in Green Bay. And a quick look at the quarterback comparison. The second half, at least, Aaron Rodgers has come out and just been amazing.
Well, both those numbers are good. Let's not forget Matt Ryan's a rookie, first time in Lambeau Field, and is playing very well. In fact, both quarterbacks, young guys. Matt Ryan's only 23, Aaron Rodgers only 24. Bright futures in front of both those guys.
And a good kick there. Kanan sends that one into the end zone. The key play here, the game changer, I think, a wide open Ben Hartsock. But no, it's Tramon Williams with the interception. A long pass play to the tight end Humphrey in between, and then the touchdown pass going Rodgers to Jennings.
Well, Atlanta was going down to go by 2 touchdowns. They were up, it was 17-10, had all the momentum and the energy. You could feel it in this place, and then all of a sudden the acrobatic interception, this place explodes, and the Packers answer. We got a ball game.
Packers back to the run game. Grant trying to get outside, a nice first down game. Let's go down to Carissa Thompson.
Well, guys, no doubt about it that those ice packs will be out after this game. Rodgers, after that last touchdown throw, he threw his head back on the bench. He shut his eyes. He's clearly feeling the pain. When guys were high-fiving him, he was making sure to do it with his left hand. And when trainers try to look at it, he doesn't sit still very long. He's very fidgety, as to sort of say, I'll be fine, just wants to get through this game.
Well, he's doing more than getting through it.
And when you're injured, the last thing you want is the training staff to be all over you.
Yeah. That's Humphrey. And that's a first down. Keith Brooking on the tackle.
And Ron, what I was saying there about being on the sidelines and the trainers, not that you don't want them around you. Obviously, they got to do your job. But he's in the zone. He understands the pain. He knows he's beat up and he's fighting through it. And sometimes you just want to be by yourself. Let me just stay in the moment. Let me stay focused. And if people are prodding and pushing, asking these questions, doing all that, it can kind of take you out and remind you really how much pain you're in.
Rodgers in the second half, 13 of 18 for 152 and a touchdown. Much different from the first half. That's a catch. That's the rookie, Jermichael Finley. He got a couple.
And this, we talked about a little bit how this has been Favre-like with Aaron Rodgers so far. The last drive, playing in pain, arm hanging, all the drama here in Lambeau Field. But this is really where you make a name for yourself, coming back in the fourth quarter, down by 3. Can he lead his team to victory in this situation?
And they rule that pass incomplete to Finley. 2nd and 10. Throw back inside. A marker goes down in the backfield. That throw is complete to Donald Lee.
Holding, number 78, offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, second down.
That's Alan Barber. Barber, as we said earlier, coming in, substituting for Chad Clifton. Barber taking Darren College's place at left guard, while College has the very unenviable task of moving over to take that left tackle spot and blocking John Abraham.
Well, you talk about Darren College, and we said that right when he came in. Could he hold up at left tackle against John Abraham? Guess whose name we haven't called since Darren College has been in there?
John Abraham.
John Abraham. Right now, Darren College really up to the task of blocking the all-pro John Abraham.
And now Abraham is flopped to the other side, working against Tauscher. They chip him, knock him down across the middle of the field. But he holds on. That's Driver. A marker is down at the 35-yard line. Donald doesn't know it yet. Malloy came in with the shot. 16 yards. Let's wait for Carl Sheffers.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, number 26, defense, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That one going against Atlanta.
And interesting, they'll back it up and only take the 5. It was a 16-yard game, but it would have been 3rd and 5 still. But because of the illegal contact, that penalty is an automatic first down. Say, hey, listen, we'll take the 3 new downs, we'll back it up and get first down.
You saw Mike Smith out there with the refreshment in hand.
Staying hydrated.
It always helps to argue your point when you've got something to drink to go along with it. And Atlanta calls timeout via the head coach, Mike Smith. We've got a great one here in Green Bay, 2017. So this could be big for Atlanta coming down the stretch here, because now they are down to 1 timeout. Let's go back to why Mike Smith called this last timeout.
I think they had 12 guys on the field, Ronnie, and there's the 12th guy right there. Mike Smith saw that from the sideline, made sure he get the timeout, and like you said, it forced him. You see Mike Smith right there called the timeout, but it forced him to burn another one. 5:23 left in the fourth quarter. These timeouts could be very valuable down the stretch.
Remember, they lost the timeout on a challenge of Roddy White dropped ball. They challenged it, lost, and lose a timeout as a result. That's Grant Babineau on the tackle. Atlanta with 1, Green Bay with 2 timeouts.
And if you're Mike McCarthy, you got to feel pretty happy with the production you're getting on the ground so far. Much better than the previous 2 games which they lost. They got back to the basics this week, the fundamentals. Said it was a training camp field. Said they needed to get back to being physical, blocking with good pad level and running with good pad level.
2nd down and 7. That's pressure. Abraham, what do they call it? In the grasp or an incomplete pass? A marker goes down late here.
Well, we gave
somebody was giving Carl Sheffers an earful.
Sorry about that, Ron. We were talking about Darren College doing such a good job, but that time John Abraham ran right by him. Didn't even give Aaron Rodgers the time to set up the screen. Then you see Aaron Rodgers go down hard on his shoulder.
Intentional grounding, number 12, offense, 10-yard penalty, 3rd down, loss of down.
At first, Carl Sheffers called it an incomplete pass. Now they change it, throw the flag, and call it intentional grounding.
Well, it's key. 2 things. You have to be outside the tackle box, which are those 2 lines. And then the other thing is, even if you get outside the tackle box, you got to throw it across the line of scrimmage.
I'm not even sure he was out.
The tackle box is close, but he clearly didn't even get close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
He was trying to set up the screen. And if you watch College, he's blocking screen, but he doesn't even, you got to at least slow down the defensive end. You want those guys to rush the passer, but you got to slow them down a little bit. Otherwise, you know, a guy like John Abraham with his speed and closing ability won't even allow you to execute a play.
The penalty is enforced at the spot of the foul, 3rd down.
And that's a big penalty because it's the penalty is spot of the foul, like you said, and it's also you lose the down. So now
loss of down. Right.
Loss of down. Now you're 3rd and long.
Third and 19. Intercepted. Michael Boley in a huge pick for the Atlanta Falcons. That's his first interception of the year.
And that's the last thing you can do if you're Aaron Rodgers, obviously. He's outside the pocket trying to make a play down the field. And that's so often why you see in those 3rd and forever situations, you see a draw or a screen, because just too many bad things can happen when you try to make a play that far down the field. The Falcons dropped 8 back in coverage, so they have all the, you know, over the top covered up and also underneath between the linebackers and the secondary guys. A little bit surprised Mike McCarthy didn't just go to a screen or a draw. They had plenty of time still on the clock.
5th career interception for Boley. What a pick it was. Now the Falcons stay on the ground and try to run this clock. That's Michael Turner. And Tony, you have to go back to what we talked about. We've seen Rodgers come back after the discussion about the shoulder and throw a touchdown pass, but you think the shoulder was a factor there?
I don't think so. He was outside the pocket. He had plenty of zip on it. I mean, he was going to get to his intended receiver. The problem is he didn't account for the underneath coverage of Michael Boley. And Michael Boley, you know, we've watched him enough. He's athletic enough to play on 3rd down, and he's going to run underneath that and make the play more times than not. So I don't think it was arm. I think it was a bad decision, you know, which makes it the tough situation and makes it, you know, exponentially harder to get a 1st down.
2nd and 5. Turner looking to bounce it outside. He's got some speed. And Turner inside the Packer 5-yard line. Woodson along with Collins and Pepra push him out of bounds. 12 yards on the pickup.
And this is all Michael Turner. He's going to start it right up in the line of scrimmage, sees nothing there, and bounces it all the way outside. Offensive line does a good job of balling everything up. Nick Barnett was, I mean, he was cleared, unblocked, and Michael Turner just made a miss and then showed he has plenty of speed to get on the corner.
And that puts Michael Turner over the 100-yard mark, as you see his numbers there. First and goal. Touchdown. Michael Turner, and the Atlanta Falcons go up big. So with the Aaron Rodgers interception, the Falcons come back with a nice run by Turner and push it into the end zone. Elam tacks on the extra point. And Atlanta goes up 27-17.
Ron, we've been talking about Roddy White all day about the receiving ability of him and the catches. Watch him on this goal line play, block down, and he's the key seal block. You don't see receivers do this too often. Working against Charlie Peppera. Does a great job of blocking down. I mean, that's what you expect out of your star receivers. You know, hey, you want them to catch the ball and do all those things, but it's the little things that separate you from other players and other teams. When you get your star players to buy in to what you're asking them to do and block as a receiver is a big thing. And then Michael Turner, I mean, again, this is what we've seen out of him at home in the Georgia Dome. We haven't seen this production on the road yet this year from Michael Turner, Atlanta Falcons run game. But today they've picked it up. You can see he's only averaged 49 yards a game on the road today. He's over the 100-yard mark. And it's been the physical running. They've really made it between the tackles. Outside that last run, which he bounced outside, besides that, between the tackles, they've been winning the battle up front, giving enough of a bubble in there to allow Michael Turner to get parallel to the line of scrimmage and run downhill.
Coming into today's game at home, had 324 yards rushing in the 2 big home wins. On the road, not even over 100 yards rushing. He makes up for it today. Blackman stopped at first, keeps his feet moving. That's a decent return. Tonight on Fox, don't miss an outrageous new episode of Family Guy. Animation is back, and all new what they got starting at 9, 8 Central right here, and only here on Fox. Just advised, and that's because of that dog, Brian. Tune in and you'll know what I'm talking about. 3:28 here to play.
It's still enough time. You're not out of this game. You're down 10. You need a field goal, and a touchdown. Get Aaron Rodgers. You have 2 timeouts left, and they've shown the ability to strike quickly.
So here we go. Nearly another interception, but instead it's caught by Ravel Martin.
And now you got to get the big guys. You got to hustle up. Get these big guys in the line of scrimmage. Get in your formation. You need to score quickly. And that'll determine whether you have to kick it onside or you can kick it deep.
Packers in the hurry up, 2nd and 1. Swing pass outside to Jackson. He'll get the first. Stays in bounds. And that's Chevis Jackson with the tackle.
We're at 2:55 and counting. The Packers have 2 timeouts left. And at the pace they're going right now, they're kind of getting little bits and pieces at a time. You got to be thinking on the sidelines if you're special, Mike Stork on the special teams coach, getting that onside team ready.
A missed tackle. Jennings. Greg Jennings is deep inside Falcons territory.
And he got out of bounds. Ron stops the clock. 2:34. You're in point-blank range right now. And Aaron Rodgers
holding that arm. That time that may have been the helmet.
Was the
on the elbow.
I think it was the combination of the throw and then getting popped right in the gut by Jonathan Babineau.
Boy, if he wants people to forget about Brett Favre, this is the perfect venue to do it. Down by 10, 2 timeouts. You've got the ball. Quick one inside, almost a circus catch by Driver, and Driver saying, hey, where's the interference? Jackson on the coverage. That's the rookie out of LSU, third-round pick on that national championship team last year. We've called his name quite a bit today.
The clock is really an issue. 2:31. You know, you need to start. You know, obviously the whole field's still open to you. You got your timeouts, but you need to get the ball in the end zone.
Driver in the slot. Jennings up top. Complete. Humphrey inside the 10-yard line.
And they have made hay all day long over the middle of the field, really exploiting the zone coverage of the Falcons.
And Rodgers called for the clock play, meaning he's going to throw it to the ground, and he does. And that'll stop it.
The Packers have had a real good game plan, like I was saying a second ago, of working the center of the field against the Falcons. They saw something in film study that they saw some holes in that secondary in the middle of the field, whether it's been Donald Driver or the tight ends, Donald Lee and Troy Humphrey in that case. And you can see Aaron Rodgers directing traffic, looking to the sideline, seeing what Mike McCarthy wants to do.
Second and goal. Jennings up top. Driver in the slot. Jones at the bottom. Empty backfield. Rodgers will run for his. He goes down inside the 5. Abraham came off the rush to make the tackle, and that is the 2-minute warning. We've got a 10-point game with Green Bay threatening to score. The Falcons off to a hot start. Thanks to Roddy White, he got it going early. They jumped to a 17-7 lead, got their first road touchdown of the season. But the Packers and Aaron Rodgers came back here in the second half. Third down. Shovel inside. That's Lee. Touchdown, Green Bay. I don't think anyone saw that one coming, Tony.
You talk about being Favre-esque. That was a little underhand. How many times we see Brett Favre kind of find any way he could to get the ball out? A little underhand pitch by Aaron Rodgers to Donald Lee. It was a shuffle pass right underneath, allowing the rush of the Falcons to get up the field and just snuck it in right underneath them.
So the tight end, Donald Lee, gets the pack right back in this thing, down by only 3 here with under 2 minutes to go. There's Lee there, the tight end sets up the block.
Yeah, he's in line in the backfield, and just a little underhand. We saw a place earlier by the Falcons that was the same kind of scheme. You let those rushers get up the field, a little bit of delay, and just get the ball to, in this case, it's the tight end lined up in the backfield, and let him do the rest.
The Packers have lost 2 straight. And as I said at the top of the game, I didn't want to call it desperation. That wasn't the feel I got from the Packers, but it definitely is a sense of urgency, Tony. Losing 2 straight for the first time since 2006.
Yeah, and that on top of the fact that, you know, Chicago, who no one thought was going to do much, is playing well in your division right now. You know, every game is so critical. And now as we come to this situation, you got 1:56 left. You have 2 minutes. I believe if you're the Packers, you have to kick the onside, because if you kick it deep and the Falcons get it, you only can stop the clock twice. And then if they kick it, you'd only leave yourself about 20 seconds if you got the ball back at all.
And that's the last time that the Packers executed successfully an onside kick back in 06 against the New York Jets.
And they're lined up for it.
Here it is. Nope, didn't get the right bounce. Right off the top.
And Mason Crosby never even gave him a chance.
No, he looked like he went fast, maybe trying to get Atlanta, catch them off guard, but I think he caught his own guys off guard and didn't get a good hit on the top of the ball. Eric Coleman comes up with it.
Well, he completely missed it. He as a kicker, you can see Mike McCarthy talking to him. You need to get that ball outside. You're trying to kick the top of it to get that big hop outside towards the sidelines. And he just whiffs on it. I mean, not only does he not get the big hop, but it's almost kicked towards the center of the field. Not how the play is designed at all.
So Atlanta with 1 timeout, not a factor for them. They're ahead. Green Bay with 2 timeouts. That's the bigger factor. Michael Turner Trying to get outside Barnett is there. The Falcons making their first trip back to Green Bay since the 27-7 playoff win back in January of 2003. That was when the Falcons had Michael Vick at quarterback. Remember that one, Tony, in the light snow, handing the Packers their first postseason loss ever here at Lambeau Field.
And that was back when, if you were the Packers, if you could get home field advantage, you felt like we're going to the Super Bowl, because they never lost in the playoffs. Like you said, you get Brett Favre, it's cold, the frozen tundra. That never happened. Now, last year we saw the difference. The Giants came up in here and won, and it was probably all started by Michael Vick and the Falcons coming in here in the Lambeau and the frozen tundra and squeaking out a playoff win. And ever since then, it hasn't been quite the same aura up here in January.
And of course, Favre that day, like so many days, bringing the Packers back. And the first order of business for Green Bay, they have to get off the field. And that means you got to stop the run. And Michael Turner.
Third and final charge timeout, Green Bay. 30-second
so now
timeout.
Green Bay burning their last timeout.
And now you're going to have third and about a yard or less.
Inches.
Yeah,
really?
It's third less than a yard, and you have to get off. If you do not get off the field here, the game is over. And even if you do stop them, you're going to still be fighting uphill. The clock will be able to run 40 seconds. That's the play clock. Get down to about a minute, and you kick the ball, and then you have the length of the field to go with under a minute. So a tall order, however you look at it, it's a tall order to stop the Atlanta Falcons at third and less than one. And then even if you do that, to come back with very little time left.
Third and inches. Quick snap. Turner's got it. And that should all but do it for the Green Bay Packers. And you can see the Atlanta Falcons sideline just erupted. And you can tell by the look on Mike Smith's face, that says it all right there.
And now the offensive, and I guess if you're a defensive player on the sidelines as well, the best play, your favorite play in all football, Ron, it's called the victory. The victory kneel down.
And you saw Falcons owner Arthur Blank there. And I mentioned to him before the game, well, the last time we had talked, it was right here on this field before that very game we just queued up there back in 2003, where they came up here and beat Brett Favre and the Packers. And a look at the Falcons' upcoming games. Big key for them now, getting the win on the road. They've got Chicago at home, and Chicago coming into today's game at 2-2. They've got the bye after that. And you can't say enough, even with the interception today, about that man, Matt Ryan, and his performance thus far through the year, especially today.
Yeah, and he fought back. This team fought back when, you know, a lot of young teams might crumple under the pressure after that big interception. The Packers drive down to tie the game up. This place is loud, it's ruckus, it's going crazy. And the Falcons and Matt Ryan didn't wither away. They stayed in there. They got the key drive to get the 3 points after the big kickoff return by Jarius Norwood. But for a young team, that's something to build on, being able to win on the road.
So the Falcons get the win. We'll return to Green Bay to wrap things up right after these messages.